The sun no longer sets on Nigerians. This is because Nigerians can now be found in virtually all nations and regions of the world. In Tall Drums, we bring you stories of Nigerians making remarkable contributions to the improvement of the human condition. Here is your host, Dr. Ugoji.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Tall Drums, a Nigerian American journal. Our guest this week is Dr. Vincent Ahonkhai. Dr. Ahonkhai is Vice President and Director at GlaxoSmithKline, one of the biggest pharmaceutical corporations in the world. His career in the pharmaceutical industry has put him in positions where he has contributed to and supervised the clinical development, registration, and commercialization of products that have yielded billions of dollars in sales. He's been credited with building efficient tax teams, not only in his medical and research professions, but also in the numerous civic and professional organizations to which he has lent his time and energy. The interview with Dr. Ahonkhai took place in our New Jersey studios.
Tall Drums is presented by Sungai Corporation, publishers and consultants.
Dr. Ahonkhai, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Tall Drums, a Nigerian American journal. What was it like growing up in Edo State?
Growing up was probably the most fulfilling and memorable thing of my life so far. Because in retrospect, I enjoyed every little bit of it. It was a rural environment, like most of Nigeria was at that time, with no electricity, with no pipe-borne water, no paved road, but a lot of family, friendship, camaraderie, and just playing and growing up like a normal child in a rural environment. It was exciting. Made a lot of good relationships then.
I see. Now, you're the second of two children from your mother's side. Okay. How old were you when your dad passed?
I was probably 5, 6 years old.
I see.
And that was something that I long for even till now. I wish I had the opportunity of growing up with my father, but that was not to be.
Okay, so he died while you were still a young child.
Yes.
Okay, and then who replaced him as a father figure, so to speak, in your life at that young age?
Well, like they say, the village, it takes a village to raise children, and that was typical in my case. But perhaps the patriarch of my family upon the passing of my father was his younger brother, who is my uncle, who today remains one of the foremost characters in my life. He and my mother were very instrumental to what happened. He especially taking care of an expanded and extended family into which I grew.
Now, your elementary school education started where?
In the village at Ora, and it had a central elementary school to which the surrounding villages came to. And it was, a very rudimentary form of schooling, but absolute high-level standard of teaching.
Okay, and from there you went into secondary school?
Went to secondary school, and that meant going away from the village, which was an extraordinary eye-opener to me. I had never been in a vehicle to travel anywhere.
Okay.
I had never seen a paved road until I went for the scholarship examination for the secondary school, which took place in Ibadan. And the tenant in our home was fortuitously the person who read about my being invited for interview in Ibadan. Otherwise, I would have missed it. Read it in the newspaper, and he told my mother that, and his wife volunteered to take me there.
Okay,
which was great.
You went, and you obviously got the scholarship, and you attended secondary school at.
It's one of the then government colleges, Edo College in Benin City, and I was there from class 1 to upper 6, which was 7 years of education. Absolutely phenomenal.
At the end of which you received a scholarship again to study medicine.
That is correct. I received another scholarship, which I might add that, again, fortunately, I had a scholarship to get into higher school from Shell BP.
Oh, okay.
And that was the time that Shell was really investing in human capital.
Now, why medicine?
Why medicine? For a number of reasons. First of all, I mean, growing up in my village, education was viewed as the most important aspect of your future. And so I strove, like most other children, to attain the highest that I could. And they used to say that the brightest kids went to the university, and the brightest and smartest kids became doctors and engineers. I said, that's what I'm going to be, one of those. But what made me choose medicine was my younger brother died of an illness that was, in retrospect, preventable. And as I grew up, I began to think about the impact that had on me. And I thought, what better thing to do than to change the dynamics of my society in that little community, if I could, by being a doctor who could, impart some positive changes as time goes on. And I'm very pleased that I made that decision.
Okay. So your medical studies was done at the University of Lagos?
It was the University of Lagos College of Medicine. I spent 5 years there, as was the standard period that you went to medical school. And it was, again, a very enriching and fulfilling experience.
It was around that period that you fell in love with your wife and you met your wife. Is that correct, in Lagos?
Yes, I met my wife in Lagos when I was just finishing my medical school education. She was already also a graduate and had been in the Ministry of Education, and we met through the usual circumstances that young people meet, through friends and so on. And clearly there was something that sparked, and the rest, like they say, is history.
And what's her name?
She's Bernadine Ekamara Sukwo.
And you two have how many children now?
We have 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy.
Tall Drums is presented by Songhai Corporation, publishers and consultants.
What brought you to the United States, and what were your impressions of the U.S. Prior